5 minutes left. God is restoring your soulmate relationship. My beloved child, don't skip this message. Take a quiet moment and listen carefully. Sometimes life invites us to pause, not because something magical is guaranteed to happen in the next 5 minutes, but because our hearts need 5 minutes to remember hope instead of fear. If you have been carrying the weight of a broken relationship, unanswered prayers, or a longing for reconciliation, let these next moments become a time of peace, reflection, and renewed faith. There are seasons when it feels as though every door has closed. You replay old conversations in your mind. You wonder if there was one sentence you should have spoken differently or one moment you wish you could relive. Yet even in those moments, God continues to work within hearts in ways we cannot always see. Growth often happens quietly. Healing often begins long before anyone notices it. The journey toward restoration starts inside the heart before it is ever visible in the relationship. Listen carefully, my beloved child. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not that circumstances change overnight. The greatest miracle is that your heart begins to find peace while you are still waiting. Faith does not always remove uncertainty immediately, but it gives you strength to walk through uncertainty without losing hope. Every prayer whispered with sincerity, every act of forgiveness, and every decision to choose kindness over bitterness becomes another step toward healing. Perhaps today you are hoping for reconciliation with someone you deeply care about. If so, remember that healthy relationships grow through honesty, humility, forgiveness, and mutual effort. Restoration is most meaningful when both hearts are willing to learn, communicate, and respect one another. Hope is beautiful, but it walks hand in hand with wisdom. Stay until the end, because this message is about more than one relationship. It is about what God may be restoring within you. Before broken trust can be rebuilt, your own spirit may need renewal. Before a relationship becomes stronger, your heart may need to release resentment, fear, or the belief that your worth depends on another person's choices. God often begins His work within us before we see changes around us. Imagine the sunrise after a long night. The light does not appear all at once. First, there is only a faint glow on the horizon. Then little by little the darkness gives way to morning. Healing often follows that same pattern. One honest conversation, one sincere apology, one decision to forgive, one act of patience, these small moments can become the beginning of something much greater. My beloved child, never confuse waiting with being forgotten. Waiting can become a season of preparation. It teaches patience where there was impatience. It builds wisdom where there was confusion. It strengthens faith where fear once lived. Every season has purpose, even when that purpose is not immediately clear. If restoration is meant to happen, let it be built upon truth instead of illusion, respect instead of pride, and love that is expressed through consistent actions rather than temporary emotions. A relationship becomes stronger when both people are committed to growing together, listening with compassion, and choosing forgiveness without abandoning healthy boundaries. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. God does not ask you to live in fear about tomorrow. He invites you to trust Him one step at a time. Whether your path leads to reconciliation, a fresh beginning, or a season of personal healing, His desire is that your heart grows in peace, wisdom, and love. No sincere prayer is wasted, and no season of growth is meaningless. My beloved child, release what you cannot control. Continue becoming someone who speaks with kindness, acts with integrity, and loves with wisdom. Pray for guidance, remain open to honest conversations, and allow your heart to be shaped by grace instead of anxiety. When you focus on becoming the person God is calling you to be, every future relationship benefits from that transformation. As these 5 minutes come to an end, let them mark a new beginning, not because a clock guarantees change, but because you have chosen hope instead of despair, faith instead of fear, and peace instead of constant worry. Whatever tomorrow brings, walk into it knowing that God is with you through every chapter, guiding your steps and strengthening your heart. If this message encouraged you today, write, "I choose hope," in the comments as your personal reminder to keep trusting God through every season. Share this message with someone who needs encouragement, and continue moving forward with faith, patience, and love. My beloved child, your story is still being written, and with God's guidance, every chapter can become an opportunity for healing, growth, and new beginnings. My beloved child, if you are still here, then perhaps your heart is searching for more than answers. Perhaps it is searching for peace. There is a reason this message has found you at this moment. Not because every question will be answered today, but because your heart is being reminded that no season of waiting is ever without purpose. Even when you cannot see what God is doing, He is still working in ways beyond your understanding. Stay until the end, because this next chapter may become the encouragement your soul has been waiting to hear. Listen carefully. There are moments when heaven seems silent, and we mistake that silence for absence. But silence is not the same as abandonment. A gardener does not stop caring for a seed simply because it remains beneath the soil. Hidden roots continue growing before the first green leaf ever appears. In the same way, God often begins restoring hearts long before anyone can see visible change. Healing starts in places no human eye can observe. Perhaps you have spent countless nights praying for your relationship. Perhaps you have asked God to remove misunderstanding, soften wounded hearts, and bring clarity where confusion once lived. Those prayers matter. Prayer changes the one who prays, giving strength, patience, and wisdom even while circumstances are still unfolding. Sometimes the first heart God restores is your own, because a peaceful heart is prepared to recognize healthy love when it comes. Stay until the end, because this changes everything. Restoration is not about returning to the past exactly as it was. True restoration creates something stronger than before. A relationship that learns from past mistakes, embraces honest communication, and grows in mutual respect has the opportunity to become healthier than it ever was in its earlier days. Growth gives relationships deeper roots than comfort ever could. My beloved child, never mistake delay for denial. There are seasons when God invites people to slow down so they can learn lessons that cannot be rushed. Patience teaches endurance. Forgiveness teaches freedom. Humility teaches wisdom. Every challenge has the potential to shape your character if you allow your heart to remain open to God's guidance instead of becoming consumed by fear. Imagine a beautiful piece of pottery that has been cracked over time. In the hands of a skilled artist, those cracks are not simply hidden. They are carefully restored, making the finished work even more meaningful because of the journey it has been through. Human hearts are much the same. The experiences that once caused pain can become reminders of healing, resilience, and grace. Restoration does not erase the past. It transforms how the past shapes the future. Listen carefully, because there is another truth your heart needs today. Love cannot flourish where pride refuses to listen. Lasting relationships require humility from both people. They require a willingness to apologize sincerely, forgive wisely, and communicate honestly. These qualities cannot be forced upon another person, but they can always begin within your own heart. Every act of kindness plants another seed for tomorrow. Perhaps your soulmate is also walking through a season of growth. Perhaps they are learning lessons about patience, responsibility, and genuine commitment. Or perhaps this message is simply reminding you that every person's journey unfolds according to its own timing. Whatever tomorrow brings, continue becoming someone who reflects grace, integrity, and compassion. Those qualities never lose their value. My beloved child, place your future in God's hands instead of trying to carry every burden alone. Trust does not mean pretending that challenges do not exist. Trust means believing that God can bring wisdom, healing, and strength even in difficult seasons. Whether the road ahead brings reconciliation, a fresh beginning, or a deeper season of personal growth, His presence remains constant. As these moments come to an end, remember this above everything else. God's greatest work is often not changing your circumstances overnight. It is changing your heart so that when the right season arrives, you are ready to walk into it with peace instead of fear, wisdom instead of confusion, and faith instead of despair. So continue walking forward, my beloved child. Keep praying with sincerity. Keep loving with wisdom. Keep growing in patience. Keep protecting your peace. The next chapter of your story is still being written, and every page holds another opportunity to experience God's guidance, His comfort, and His unfailing love. If this message encouraged your heart today, write, "I trust God's timing," in the comments as a declaration of faith. Share this message with someone who needs hope, and remember this final thought before we continue our journey together. When God restores what has been broken, He does not simply rebuild the past, He prepares hearts for a future strengthened by grace, truth, and enduring love. My beloved child, if your heart is still listening, then allow these next moments to become a quiet place of hope. You have come this far because something inside you refuses to give up on the possibility that healing is still possible. Even when the road has felt uncertain, even when prayers seem to rise into silence, your faith has continued to whisper that God has not forgotten you. Hold on to that hope, because the greatest transformations often begin when nothing around you appears to be changing. Listen carefully. There are seasons when God works behind the scenes in ways that no human eye can recognize. Just as a river slowly shapes the strongest stone through patience rather than force, God often shapes hearts through quiet moments of reflection, humility, and grace. The work may seem invisible today, but invisible does not mean inactive. Every lesson learned, every prayer spoken, and every act of forgiveness becomes another step toward the future He is preparing. Stay until the end, because this message may encourage you in a way you did not expect. Sometimes we ask God to restore a relationship, while He first chooses to restore the people within it. Before trust can grow again, hearts often need healing. Before lasting peace can return, pride must give way to humility. Before two people can walk forward together, each person may need to become stronger individually. What feels like waiting may actually be preparation. My beloved child, remember that God's timing is never rushed, yet it is never careless. There may be moments when you wonder why restoration has not happened as quickly as you hoped. Yet every meaningful foundation requires time to become strong. A house built upon weak ground cannot endure the storms that eventually come. In the same way, relationships built upon honesty, forgiveness, and mutual respect develop strength that can carry them through future challenges. Imagine standing beneath an ancient oak tree. Its branches stretch wide because its roots have grown deep over many years. The strength you admire above the ground exists because of the unseen work taking place beneath it. Faith grows in much the same way. The prayers you continue to offer, the kindness you continue to show, and the patience you continue to practice are quietly deepening your spiritual roots, preparing you for seasons of greater joy. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. Restoration is not simply about returning to where you once were. It is about becoming better than before. It is about learning from past mistakes instead of repeating them. It is about choosing honesty where there was once misunderstanding, compassion where there was once resentment, and wisdom where there was once fear. God delights in transforming hearts that are willing to grow. Perhaps your soulmate is also experiencing their own season of reflection. Perhaps they are discovering lessons that could only be learned through time and experience. Or perhaps this message is reminding you that every person's spiritual journey belongs to God. Instead of carrying the burden of trying to control another person's path, place that burden into God's hands and focus on becoming the person He is shaping you to be. My beloved child, never underestimate the quiet power of faith lived out through daily choices. Every time you forgive instead of holding bitterness, every time you choose peace instead of panic, every time you trust God instead of surrendering to fear, you are allowing Him to strengthen your heart. Those decisions may seem small, but together they become a testimony of hope and resilience. One day you may look back on this season and realize that what felt like the longest delay became the greatest preparation. You may discover that every unanswered question encouraged you to depend more deeply upon God. Every difficult moment refined your character. Every challenge strengthened your faith. Those lessons will remain with you long after this chapter has ended. So continue walking forward with confidence, my beloved child. Pray with sincerity. Speak with kindness. Love with wisdom. Trust God's guidance one day at a time. Whether He leads you toward reconciliation, a fresh beginning, or a deeper season of personal renewal, know that His desire is always to shape your heart with truth, peace, and enduring hope. As this chapter comes to a close, remember this one final promise: no season of sincere faith is ever wasted. God sees every prayer, every tear, every act of courage, and every quiet moment when you choose hope over despair. Keep your eyes fixed on Him rather than on fear, because the author of your story is still writing chapters that you have not yet read. Walk forward with peace, my beloved child, trusting that His grace will continue to guide every step of your journey. My beloved child, as we continue this journey together, let your heart rest in this truth for a moment: God's work is often quiet before it becomes visible. We naturally look for immediate signs, dramatic moments, or instant answers, yet many of the greatest changes begin in silence. A seed does not break through the soil the moment it is planted. It first grows roots where no one can see them. In the same way, God often strengthens hearts before He changes circumstances. What feels hidden today may simply be the beginning of something that is still growing. Listen carefully, because this next chapter carries an important reminder. There are moments when you may wonder if your prayers have been heard. You may ask why the road has become longer than expected or why certain doors remain closed. Yet throughout Scripture we often see that waiting becomes a season where faith, patience, and wisdom grow stronger. Waiting is not always empty. Sometimes it is where character is formed and hope becomes deeper than emotion. Stay until the end, because this changes the way we understand restoration. God is not only concerned with bringing two people back together. He is concerned with restoring truth, peace, forgiveness, and integrity within every heart involved. A relationship that is rebuilt on honesty, mutual respect, and compassion has a stronger foundation than one built only on emotion. Lasting restoration begins inside before it is reflected outside. My beloved child, perhaps you have asked yourself whether all the tears, prayers, and moments of uncertainty have been worth it. The answer may not always appear immediately, but every season has the power to shape your future. Every challenge teaches perseverance. Every disappointment can deepen compassion. Every lesson learned becomes part of the wisdom you will carry into every relationship that follows. Imagine a shepherd patiently searching for one sheep that has wandered away. The search is not rushed because every step is taken with care. Restoration often follows that same pattern. It is thoughtful rather than hurried. It seeks healing rather than simply returning things to the way they once were. True restoration creates something healthier than what existed before because it is built upon lessons that were learned through experience. Listen carefully, because there is another truth your heart needs today. Faith is not pretending that pain does not exist. Faith is choosing to trust God even while pain is still present. It is believing that He can bring purpose from difficulty, wisdom from disappointment, and peace from uncertainty. Every time you choose hope instead of despair, you allow your heart to remain open to the work God is doing within you. Perhaps your soulmate is also walking through a season that only God fully understands. Perhaps they are learning patience, humility, or forgiveness in ways that no one else can see. Or perhaps this message simply reminds you that each person has their own journey of growth. Whatever tomorrow holds, continue praying for wisdom, continue acting with kindness, and continue allowing your own heart to become a reflection of God's love. My beloved child, do not let fear convince you that the story has already ended. Every sunrise reminds us that new beginnings are possible. Every new day brings another opportunity to choose grace instead of resentment, courage instead of anxiety, and faith instead of discouragement. Your future is not defined by yesterday's disappointments. It is shaped by the choices you make today and the hope you continue to carry into tomorrow. There will come a time when you understand why certain seasons required patience. You may look back and realize that what seemed like a delay became an opportunity to grow stronger in character and deeper in faith. The answers you once searched for may eventually become clear, not because everything happened exactly as you expected, but because God was preparing you for something wiser and healthier than you first imagined. So keep walking forward, my beloved child. Continue seeking God with a sincere heart. Continue choosing forgiveness without abandoning wisdom. Continue loving with compassion while protecting your peace. Let your faith become stronger than your fear, and let your hope remain steady through every season. Whatever chapter comes next, trust that God is present with you, guiding your steps even when the road ahead cannot yet be fully seen. As this chapter closes, remember one final truth before we continue this journey together. Restoration is not measured by how quickly circumstances change. It is measured by how deeply God transforms the heart. When your heart is rooted in faith, strengthened by grace, and guided by wisdom, you are prepared for whatever tomorrow may bring. Keep trusting, my beloved child. The story is still unfolding, and every page is another opportunity to grow in hope, love, and faith. My beloved child, if you have stayed with this message until now, then let your heart become still for just a few more moments. There is a reason God often asks His children to keep walking even when they cannot yet see the destination. Faith is not built by seeing every step in advance. Faith grows when we choose to trust the one who already knows the road ahead. Every day you continue believing, praying, and growing is another reminder that God has not finished writing your story. Listen carefully, because this chapter may become one of the most encouraging parts of your journey. There are moments when people believe that restoration happens in one dramatic instant. Yet many of God's greatest works unfold gradually. Hearts soften through repeated acts of grace. Trust is rebuilt through consistent honesty. Peace grows through daily surrender. These quiet changes may seem small, but together they create a foundation that can endure life's greatest storms. Perhaps you have asked God, why has this taken so long? That question is one many faithful people have asked throughout history. Waiting can feel heavy, especially when your heart longs for healing. But waiting also teaches dependence upon God rather than upon circumstances. During these quiet seasons, your character is strengthened, your perspective becomes clearer, and your faith becomes deeper than it was before. Even when you cannot measure your progress, God continues His work within you. Stay until the end, because this changes everything. Restoration is not about returning to the exact place where everything fell apart. God's desire is often to lead you towards something healthier, wiser, and more grounded in truth. A relationship restored through humility, forgiveness, mutual respect, and honest communication becomes stronger than one that simply returns without growth. His purpose is not merely to repair what was broken but to shape hearts that can love more faithfully than before. My beloved child, remember that forgiveness is not forgetting the lessons of the past. Forgiveness is releasing the desire to be controlled by yesterday's pain while continuing to walk in wisdom. You can forgive and still establish healthy boundaries. You can show compassion while remaining truthful. You can choose grace without ignoring the importance of mutual responsibility. These choices honor both love and wisdom. Imagine a beautiful tapestry being woven by skilled hands. From underneath, the threads appear tangled and without meaning. Colors cross in unexpected ways, and nothing seems to fit together. Yet when the work is complete, every thread has found its place, creating a picture more beautiful than anyone could have imagined. Your life often feels like those unseen threads. You may not understand why certain moments happened, but God sees the finished design long before you do. Listen carefully, because your heart needs this reminder today. Never allow disappointment to convince you that your future has already been decided. God's mercy is renewed every morning. Every sunrise becomes another opportunity to grow in kindness, strengthen your faith, and walk with greater wisdom. Whatever yesterday looked like, today still holds opportunities to choose hope over fear and peace over anxiety. Perhaps your soulmate is also experiencing a season of reflection. Perhaps they are learning lessons that only time could teach. Perhaps they are discovering the importance of honesty, humility, and genuine commitment. Or perhaps this message is simply encouraging you to leave their journey in God's hands while faithfully continuing your own. You are not responsible for changing another person's heart. You are responsible for allowing God to continue shaping yours. My beloved child, continue praying with sincerity, but also continue living with purpose. Do not pause your entire life while waiting for tomorrow. Continue serving others with kindness. Continue growing in wisdom. Continue pursuing the gifts God has placed within you. When your life remains rooted in faith and purpose, every season becomes meaningful, whether it brings waiting, healing, or joyful new beginnings. One day you may look back and realize that this season prepared you for blessings you could not have carried before. The patience you learned will strengthen future conversations. The wisdom you gained will help you make healthier choices. The faith you developed during uncertain days will remain with you long after the waiting has ended. Nothing God teaches with love is ever wasted. So walk forward with confidence, my beloved child. Let your prayers remain sincere, your spirit remain humble, and your hope remain alive. Continue trusting God's timing even when the path ahead is not fully visible. Every faithful step you take today becomes part of the testimony you will one day share with others who are searching for hope. As this chapter comes to a close, remember this final encouragement. God's restoration is not measured by the speed of the journey but by the depth of the transformation. When He prepares hearts through truth, grace, patience, and wisdom, the blessings that follow carry a strength that temporary emotions can never provide. Keep your eyes on Him, my beloved child. Your story is still unfolding, and every chapter is another reminder that God's love remains faithful through every season of life. My beloved child, if your heart is still listening, then let these next moments become a reminder that hope is never wasted when it is placed in God. You may not know what tomorrow holds, and you may not have every answer you have been praying for, but you are never walking through this season alone. Even when the road seems uncertain, God remains faithful, guiding your steps one day at a time and giving you the strength you need for each new chapter. Listen carefully. There are seasons when life teaches us to release the need to control every outcome. We naturally want immediate answers, clear direction, and certainty about the future. Yet faith often grows strongest when we choose to trust God without knowing every detail. Every prayer, every act of kindness, and every decision to walk in love instead of fear shapes the person you are becoming. That transformation is valuable regardless of how circumstances unfold. Stay until the end, because this message may change the way you see your journey. Sometimes we focus so much on asking God to change another person's heart that we forget to notice the beautiful work He is already doing within our own. He teaches patience where there was once frustration. He brings peace where anxiety once ruled. He replaces bitterness with forgiveness and fear with quiet confidence. Those gifts become part of your character and remain with you for the rest of your life. My beloved child, if reconciliation is possible, let it be built on truth, mutual respect, sincere repentance where needed, and a willingness from both people to grow together. Healthy relationships are strengthened by honest conversations, humility, and consistent actions. They cannot be sustained by hope alone, they require commitment from everyone involved. Trust God with what you cannot control, and continue to be faithful in what you can control. Your own words, your own choices, and your own heart. Imagine a lighthouse standing firm during a powerful storm. It cannot stop the wind or calm the waves, but it continues shining faithfully through the darkness. In the same way, God calls you to remain steady in faith, even when life's circumstances feel uncertain. Your peace does not have to depend on everything happening exactly as you hoped. It can grow from knowing that God walks beside you through every season. Listen carefully, because this truth will strengthen your spirit. No sincere prayer is ignored by God, even when the answer comes in a different way or at a different time than you expected. Sometimes His answer leads to reconciliation. Sometimes it leads to healing and a new beginning. In every case, His desire is to draw you closer to Him and to help you grow in wisdom, love, and compassion. My beloved child, do not measure your future by the disappointments of your past. Every sunrise is a reminder that God continues to offer new mercies and new opportunities. Keep seeking Him with a humble heart. Continue treating others with kindness. Continue trusting His guidance, even when the next step is not completely clear. Your faithfulness today is preparing you for the blessings and responsibilities of tomorrow. One day you may look back on this season and realize that God was strengthening your heart in ways you never recognized while you were living through it. The patience you learned, the peace you discovered, and the wisdom you gained will become treasures that no hardship can take away. Those lessons will shape every relationship, every decision, and every new beginning that lies ahead. So keep walking forward with confidence, my beloved child. Let hope remain alive, let love remain genuine, and let your faith remain anchored in God's goodness. The story is still unfolding, and while you cannot yet see every page, you can trust the one who holds the entire book. Continue praying, continue growing, and continue believing that with God, every season can become an opportunity for deeper faith, greater wisdom, and lasting peace. God's timing never fails. My beloved child, if you have remained with this message until this final chapter, then thank you for allowing these words to walk beside you on your journey. Every chapter we have shared has carried one reminder: no season of your life is without purpose when it is placed in God's hands. Whether your heart has been waiting for healing, praying for reconciliation, or simply searching for peace, know this: God sees every tear, hears every sincere prayer, and remains close to those who seek Him with a humble heart. Listen carefully, because these final words may become the encouragement your soul has been longing to hear. The greatest victory is not found in knowing exactly what tomorrow will bring. It is found in knowing that God will walk with you whatever tomorrow brings. His love does not disappear during difficult seasons. His faithfulness does not depend on perfect circumstances. Even when the road feels uncertain, His presence remains steady, offering strength for each new step. Perhaps this journey has reminded you that healing often begins long before we recognize it. A heart that once carried fear now begins to carry peace. A spirit weighed down by disappointment slowly discovers hope again. The person who once believed they could never smile after heartbreak finds themselves laughing once more. These quiet changes are signs of growth, and they reveal that God continues working within us every single day. Stay with me for these final moments, because this changes everything. The prayer you have carried in your heart matters. Whether the future brings reconciliation, a new beginning, or a season of personal renewal, place your trust in God's wisdom rather than your own understanding. His plans are always guided by perfect love, even when we cannot yet see the full picture. When we surrender our fears to Him, we make room for His peace to guard our hearts. My beloved child, never allow temporary disappointment to define your eternal hope. Every sunrise is a reminder that God's mercy is new. Every breath is another opportunity to choose forgiveness over bitterness, faith over fear, and love over resentment. The past may have shaped part of your story, but it does not have to determine the ending. With God's guidance, every new day becomes an invitation to grow in character, compassion, and courage. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet shore as the first light of morning reflects across the water. The night has passed. The storm has settled. The waves still move, but they no longer frighten you because your eyes are fixed on the horizon instead of the darkness behind you. That is what faith looks like. It does not remove every challenge. It gives you the courage to keep moving forward, trusting that God is leading you one step at a time. Listen carefully, because your heart must never forget this truth. You are deeply loved by God. Your worth is not determined by another person's decisions, by unanswered questions, or by seasons of waiting. Your value has always rested in the One who created you, knows you completely, and never stops caring for you. When you remember that truth, fear begins to lose its power, and hope begins to rise again. My beloved child, continue becoming someone who reflects God's love wherever you go. Speak words that heal instead of harm. Offer forgiveness without abandoning wisdom. Walk with humility, honesty, and compassion. Let your faith shine through your actions, and allow your life to become a testimony of grace. These are the treasures that remain long after every season has passed. One day you will look back and realize that God never left your side. During the moments when you felt weak, He was strengthening your spirit. During the moments when you felt lost, He was guiding your steps. During the moments when you believed nothing was changing, He was shaping your heart into something stronger, gentler, and more faithful than you ever imagined possible. So lift your head, my beloved child, and walk into tomorrow with confidence. Leave your worries in God's hands. Continue praying with sincerity. Continue loving with wisdom. Continue trusting His perfect timing. The chapters ahead are still unwritten, but you never walk into them alone. The same God who has carried you this far will continue to guide you through every joy, every challenge, and every new beginning. If this message has encouraged your heart, write Amen in the comments as your declaration of faith. Share this message with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to continue growing in faith together with this community. And remember this final promise, my beloved child. When you place your life in God's hands, no prayer offered in faith is ever wasted, no season of growth is ever meaningless, and no step taken with Him is ever without purpose. Keep your eyes on God, keep your heart filled with hope, and keep moving forward. The best chapter of your walk with Him is not behind you, it is still waiting to be written, one faithful step at a time. May God's peace guard your heart, His wisdom guide your path, and His unfailing love remain with you always. Amen.